we don't always pay as much attention to the need for the environment to be right, for our lives to be right, because a lot of the things that the environment provides for us, we take for granted. So, for example, the environment provides us with water, it provides us with clean air, it provides us with a place to live that is not necessarily in danger of eroding or washing away every day of the week. But if we don't manage the environment that's providing all these things without us really thinking about it, we do run into trouble.
The natural system for the disaster mitigation is the environment. And it's really interesting how integral environmental sustainability and environmental health is to disaster mitigation. We can put in infrastructure. The built environment can help to protect systems, but research has shown that for real long-term mitigation, the natural environment, the mangroves, the coral reefs, the seagrasses, the forests are really our areas that protect us from some of the vagaries of weather and changes in our climate.
As we continue to try to improve our lives, we need to become much more aware of how the environment supports those lives, and much more aware of how we should be able to manage the environment lest we cause damage or damage our lives by seeking to make ourselves more prosperous. We need to be much smarter about our approach to improving the quality of our lives and managing the environment at the same time.
We think of disasters as hurricanes, and many of them are what give our island nations a really hard time. But there are other disasters. There are disasters that take the form of disease. There are disasters related to drought and flood and so on. And in almost every way, the environment, either by allowing organisms to breed and become pests, or by us removing vegetation and causing land slippage and erosion, but in almost every way, the environment is tied to mitigating these disasters or related to the disaster in some way.
We probably need to pay a fair amount of attention as well to the marine environment, and particularly the way we manage sand beaches, and particularly let's pay attention to coral reefs. Corals are multifunctional. They provide a variety of benefits to people. They act as a breakwater to help to reduce erosion of sandy beaches, but they're also a great habitat for a variety of fish that we eat and all kinds of other organisms that are part of a web of life that supplies us with food, supplies us with tourism attractions for scuba divers. It's really the bedrock of tourism. Without coral reefs, we wouldn't have Caribbean tourism, at least not Caribbean coastal tourism.
There's a limit to how much you can achieve at community level. But one of the things that you can do is look to make your own house as energy efficient as possible. Look at things like, if you're putting up a new house, orient it to minimize heat gain from solar radiation. It doesn't add anything to the cost of the building, but it's actually one of the cheapest way to reduce your cooling load. Think about using passive air cooling. Think about putting solar panels on the roof so that you can reduce your dependence on the grid. Think about rainwater harvesting and putting in a grey water system so that water that you've just used to, for example, wash your hands goes into a holding tank, then you use that to water your yard, so that you're not having to use potable grade water which has been pumped to you at great expense to water your plants. Simple things like this don't add very much or anything to your cost of construction, your cost of living, but they can do a lot to reduce your vulnerability and also reduce the extent to which you are a part of the problem. Better to be part of the solution than part of the problem.
In the short term, we have to let people know why some of these things are happening. And that's about all we can do now, because it's in our face. So we have to explain and get an understanding. In the medium term, we need to design sometimes short-term solutions. What can you do with the sargassum on your beach? What can you do with the mangrove that has lost a lot of its cover near your area? You can replant mangroves. You can collect things off collect sargassum off the beach and make mulch of it. So there are some medium-term actions that are possible. And in the long term, we have to invest in a combination of interventions. We have to invest in education, we have to invest in infrastructural changes, and we have to invest in making a difference in terms of climate change.
If we don't pay attention to environmental sustainability, then our lives will not get any better.
Our effect on our environment and our environment's effect on us are reciprocal. We have to engage and go beyond just the word, the environment.